What is going on, guys? My name is Insane Rockstar. You can call me Austin. Going to do a podcast today with Zero. We're calling it the GeneRic podcast, talking about pro wrestling, video games, and practically anything we can talk about. We'll be talking about Money in the Bank that just recently happened this last Sunday. And Zero, introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Zero Shigeru. I also go by Zero or Jess. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you. So let's start off with the pre-show. The pre-show we had Dudley Boys versus Lucha Dragons, and that looked like a throwaway match. So
Honestly, it was just a time filler, nothing too special.
I
At least
will.
their tag team division is kind of staying afloat.
It's
Like,
staying afloat. Yes, it's staying high and strong. It looks like, but I will say, because I've been seeing a lot of people, that they're pissed with the Dudley Boys. They're mad that they've come back and all they've been doing is jobbing. But the thing about it is, it's like they've got so much history. What left do they have to do besides win the champion again? I think they plan on winning the champion as their retirement. Right before they retire, they want to win the champion. But till then, they want to put these new tag teams over, give back to the business, is what they call it.
yeah,
So
that basically is the mentality. That should be the mentality for older talent to put over newer talent. You shouldn't be like Hulk Hogan and just try to dick everyone.
yeah, there is the talent that won't do it, like you said, Hulk Hogan. They're not exactly I won't say dickish, but I'll say they think more of themselves. Like, I won't say that's necessary dickish because I think about myself every day, but like in the business you're in, you can't just think about yourself. You can't just sit there and go, I want this champion, I want this, I don't want to stop losing ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now let's move on to the next match real quick. An actual decent match for a pre-show. The Breeze Dango
And Golden
versus
Roof,
yeah.
aka Team Febreze and Team Who.
Did you say Team Febreze and Team Who? That's
Yeah,
good.
because Golden Truth, they're just kind of there, and Breezango is just also kind of there. They're just kind of made out of a just weird storyline.
Well, I think where they wanted to get the old feel of Booker T and Goldust from the Attitude Era. Well, I think that was Ruthless Aggression.
They will never have that magic back.
Oh no, they never will, but I think that's what they're aiming for, or something of that. Because like when I watch them, they have go back and watch Booker T and Goldust. They do act sort of the same.
They do, except R-Truth is his own kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
Well, well, Booker T wasn't necessarily crazy. He was the serious one in the group. They're both crazy. Actually, it seems more at times that Goldust is more serious than he was back in the Ruthless Aggression era.
Oh yeah, Goldust was... His character has certainly evolved. I mean, he used to be a weirdo who dressed up in lingerie and dresses and all kinds of...
Wear a wig to a ring and looked practically like a tranny, which makes me wonder about Dustin Rhodes in general, if there's a secret under there, but that's a different story for a different day. Actually, that match wasn't bad. I will go on to say, I think they were legitimately sunburnt. At first I was thinking, no,
They look legitimately sunburned.
it was either legitimately sunburnt or real good makeup job.
It kind of, from the way it was peeling off, it looked a little like fake skin, like just a little bit. But from how red their torsos were, ooh,
The sunburn looked real, but maybe not the skin peeling, but yeah, they looked real. It looked real. If you went out there and wrestled with a legitimate sunburn, I gotta give them props because I can't imagine hitting the mat with that. That would hurt. I would wanna
or just anything really.
scream most of the time. And I think they did too when they got slapped.
Ooh,
Those,
whenever R-Truth or Goldust would just do basic slaps on their back, that was just
It hurt. It hurt watching. Yeah, it really did. It made me cringe a little. It really, really hurt watching, which I gotta give them credit. If it was a real sunburn, I'll say. Now, it could have been makeup, but it didn't look like makeup. But with the camera angles they have going, you never know. But if it is, I bet whoever said, this sounds like a great idea, is just gonna say, you know what, let's not do that again. Let's not go out with sunburns.
Alright, so some of the other stuff that happened on the pre-show. They actually showed WCW footage of AJ Styles, which is something you don't see too often.
Well, maybe because they own it, it's theirs, and ever before Styles was in the WWE.
Well, it's probably because they couldn't really get anything from New Japan, and they never want to mention TNA. So
TNA is a no-go. It's like the he who shall not be named Benoit. So
wouldn't take it that far because they have dealt with TNA before when they traded Christian for one-off.
Yeah, it was Ric Flair for Christian. They wanted to induct Ric Flair with the four horsemen, not the fourth. Four horsemen, Destiny reference by accident. The four horsemen, and return TNA said, well, we want Christian. So that was like the only time that I could recall. I mean, like I will say this: a while ago, I remember when R-Truth, because R-Truth was in the WWE before, but he was under K-Quick.
Yeah, K-Quick, and he was teaming up with Road Dogg before he got suspended.
Yeah, and then after WWE, he went to TNA as, I think it was Ron Killings.
Yeah, Ron Killings. He used his real name there.
Yeah, and he made the song "What's Up" that we hear at TNA. He wrote it there. They published it. When he came back to WWE, he reused it. But one thing, I know we're going back in the past for it, because I'm thinking TNA working with WWE, but if you notice during that time, Booker, the same time R-Truth returned, Booker T went over to TNA. So
it was very short, but yeah, I do believe I remember that.
It was within a short amount of time, so I do feel like they do talk to each other. But now in this day of age, where TNA is practically bankrupt, I read an article on a Ringside News. It was a dirt sheet site, but they were saying that Slammiversary almost didn't happen because of how much money TNA does not actually have. I'm surprised that they still have talent like the Hardys, Galloway, aka McIntyre.
It's debatable on the Hardys because the whole Brother Nero storyline is going on right now.
That's only because they give the their top talent full creative control. I don't think, this is my personal opinion. I go back and watch TNA and I sit there and think, these top talent stars, they have their own creative control, full creative control of the story, everything. It doesn't seem like, and if the head writers did write this, oh my goodness, I gotta agree with Vince Russo, fire them now, because this is just awful. Awful, awful, awful storytelling. Because, Styles said it best last night on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. He said, with wrestling, there has to be a story. And this Brother Nero shit going on in there, it's absolutely terrible. But it shows where TNA is at the moment. Before we actually continue talking, let's go back to Money in the Bank before we go off topic completely.
Yeah, back to the pre-show. Okay, next up, Booker T is very purple. Like, he's wearing a lot of purple.
I had a feeling because when we were watching it, you brought that up. You said he looked like a walking advertisement for Mountain Dew Kickstart.
Literally, because they had the purple cans and everything, the unopened ones that you see all the time.
I had a feeling you'd bring it up. The only thought on that one is Booker T's been weird. I mean, ever since he returned to the WWE on commentary, he said weird things. He's worn weird things.
Ducky.
Yeah. When the Divas match, I remember SmackDown, shucky ducky quack quack. You're like, what? What?
On a side note, Byron Saxton is wearing the most mint green undershirt I have ever seen.
I don't even think he should be on commentary yet. He doesn't seem like he's ready.
He is constantly berated. JBL constantly says, "Why are you here? You should be drafted to like Waffle House or something like that."
With I mean, Corey Graves is ready because he does NXT commentary.
Yeah, get him off the pre-show because that's just squandered talent, pretty much.
And Corey Graves, when he injured himself in NXT, he went. They didn't completely say, well, you hurt yourself, you're gone, get out of here, we don't want you anymore. They moved him to commentary, they trained him, and then like now he's just stuck on the pre-show at NXT commentary, which I don't know if it's his choice. Because I really don't feel like they put him on Byron first over Corey, considering Corey has more experience with commentary over Byron Saxton.
About that though, but doesn't he have a show on the network?
He has I think it's a tattoo type of show, where you show off your tattoos and explain it.
That.
Yeah, plus he has that alone, or even I mean, I don't ever recall a female commentator. What's her face on the on the pre-show? I can't remember her name. She's not like Ambrose's girlfriend.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel bad because I cannot remember her name because she's barely she's on Raw and she does interviews, but like on the pre-show, and it's like she has more talent than Saxton. I'm not trying to trash Saxton. Saxton has room to grow, but he doesn't belong.
He has no energy. Like
you need to put him with the SmackDown announcer. And you know what? Since we are talking about the announcers real quick, I do want to throw in the whole Jerry Lawler situation.
Oof.
Now, WWE released a statement saying that he was suspended indefinitely.
His ass is fired. So fired.
Which, I mean, I don't think would be smart on their hands. Jerry's already said, like, no one got hurt. They were both arrested because when his girlfriend or fiance, whatever she is, called the police came out here and said, listen, we need to treat this as a domestic violence case. You're both coming downtown with us. So, and they were released the night after they were locked up, I believe. It was like they only spent like a day or something in prison. And it's like, I don't think it would have gotten this far if
it was a lot of he said, she said, from what I heard. Like,
yeah, I don't think it would have gotten this far if no one found the mugshot. If that mugshot and the news didn't break, I don't think, WWE would have found out, and they would have found out. Not that they wouldn't have. I don't think they would have taken the route that they took, suspending him indefinitely. If they do fire him, which they have a history to do at the moment, they'll later bring him back after Heat dies off.
Because he is kind of a big draw when he's heel, because he's one of the legends of Memphis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, you need him for Memphis alone. Like, but they go to Memphis, Tennessee, or anywhere in Tennessee. Jerry Lawler's the draw. So, that alone, it's like you have an old legend, a WWE Hall of Famer. You can't just fire him. Which, I think they might quietly unsuspend him and bring him back when everyone's forgotten about it. I want to say that he's probably suspended with pay at the moment.
It's happened a few times with him before, I mean.
It's not the first time where it's not the first time where he's been off air. After his heart attack, he was off air for like a few months.
I'm talking about the domestic violence, though, because you remember 2001 just before WrestleMania 17, that's why Paul Heyman was on that show.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not. Well, this one was said. Jerry said he didn't lay a hand on her. He said, like I said, it's a lot of he said, she said. You mentioned that earlier, but I want to believe Jerry in this situation because he had an interview inside prison. One of the local news stations called him while he was in the jail cell. So, he said he's claiming her accusations are wrong, and she was drunk, and they always fight when she's drunk. So it seems believable. I mean, like anything could be believable. But we probably won't see him for a while, and it will be a shame because I will miss him on.
Yeah, I don't watch SmackDown that often, but I heard he was doing a lot better as heel.
Oh, yeah, he was a great heel. I watch SmackDown every now and then. It was a fantastic heel. It was fantastic to see Jerry back on heel. Actually, since I think we covered the pre-show, let's go on to the main.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move to the main card. We started out with the New Day Tag Team Fatal 4-Way, which I thought was a ladder match for some reason. I don't know why.
I will throw out that was an interesting start. I will say I thought that was it was a definitely good way to get the crowd going because you got a lot of over tag teams in there, heel and face, that are both over with the crowd.
The New Day and Enzo and Cass are two of the most popular tag teams in recent
Without
history.
a doubt. I know you corrected me of what they really are, but I said the other night they remind me a lot of DX, but you're right. They're more of a new taste of the New Age Outlaws. Yeah. A very brand new taste of the New Age Outlaws. So, and I gotta say, they got me hooked. I do like
drawing, like the way Enzo looks, like every week, every pay-per-view. It's attention grabbing. Like he had cheetah spots shaved into the side of his head. He looks like a GTA character.
That's probably his draw. I don't know if that's supposed to be his character. Maybe before coming to the WWE, he played a lot of GTA 5 on his free time because his character. You had a point not last night, but Sunday night, GTA 5 character. He had that weird pants with the Las Vegas sign and the shit emoji on the back. It's like, wow, this guy is legitimately. I want to say he's maybe on a level of Dean Ambrose crazy because the guy just runs around and runs his mouth, but he has Big Cass to back him up.
Oh man, you've seen how Big Cass reacted when the Vaudevillains tried to re-injure him a few weeks ago. Like Big Cass, is reckoned with.
And the other thing is, I've heard he's so over in the backstage at the moment with the officials that he, when Enzo and Big Cass have to split up and do their own thing, because not all tag teams can just stay. There are very few cases. I don't even think the Dudleys even. The Dudleys were a case, but they didn't last long.
No, that was late 2003 or 2003 when Devon was doing his Reverend Devon thing.
And Deacon Batista made his debut. But yeah, not all tag teams stay together forever. And some are
and Spike Dudley, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, it's just like when you have to split them up, you have to. It's like they become, a bore, and you have to give them something new. They can't just be a tag team forever. So when Big Cass, I can see Big Cass as a WWE World Champion or a U.S. title holder or an IC title holder. Like, he has the potential.
Like, when they eventually do split up, Big Cass and Baron Corbin will probably happen at some point.
Oh, you know what? Let's talk about my boy Baron Corbin real quick. I think he was the next match.
Nah, it was a little later in the card. It was a...
Well, then I'll save him for later because I want to go in order.
You're right.
Well, hold on. Let's finish up this anyways, because I'm skipping ahead of myself, excited for the podcast.
All right, speaking of attire, the Bullet Club had their New Japan Pro Wrestling attire.
Yeah, they had the New Japan stuff on. At least it looked like the New Japan stuff. I'm not sure if they had WWE replicate. The Japanese. Yeah. Even Styles was wearing it in his match with Cena, which we'll talk about later.
Oh yeah.
But Gallows and Anderson had the old gear on, and it was very interesting. I told you when we were watching, like on Gallows jacket thing, vest jacket. I didn't, it said the, and then I think that was, of course, it was probably club in Japanese.
Yeah.
But there was no bullet anywhere on there. But I saw bullet holes on the jackets.
What it was supposed to represent? Maybe it was Bullet Club all along, or...
Well, my understanding, they didn't go with the name Bullet Club because I think another promotion owns that term, or someone in general owns it right now. I don't know, but WWE didn't even try going with it, so they just called it the Club, which I guess is all right for a PG show because like right now we're in the PG era, so I guess it doesn't like ruin effect of anything because it's like it matches a PG type of environment. But they did look fantastic during that match.
Yeah, the match itself, there was quite a few spots. Everybody got their spots in. It was a decent tag team match. I mean, it was something you would see on Raw, but maybe just a little better.
I mean, we rarely see the Fatal 4-Way tag team matches on Raw. I mean, you see tag team matches, but like very rare do they bring it on Raw. But I think when they do the Fatal 4-Way tag team matches anymore, the tag teams make it better because I feel creative doesn't know what to do with anyone. They're just like,
what you get about Fatal 4-Ways and Triple Threats. There's no DQs, no disqualifications.
which, you know what, let's talk about the rules there with that tag team match. Towards the end of the match, and I know you saw it too because I pointed it out.
They fucked up that ending. Like
It was, and I understand it's a little detail, but it's like, as a hardcore pro wrestling fan,
it's very noticeable when somebody's just standing there waiting for a cue or a move to happen.
and it's cringing to watch Gallows tag. I think it was. I think it was English. I don't know if it was English or his partner, but he tagged one of the vaudevillains on the ass, and
nobody called it, so the legal men were not actually the legal men.
Yeah, at the end of the match, legal men. I mean, I think the ref did call it. I think I gotta go back and look.
It was kind of a clusterfuck there at the end. But...
Yeah, because it was like Gallows tagged in, and then they had what was it? Shit. I have a memory loss already. Nah, damn. But yeah, they had Gallows tag in, and I think it was Kofi who attacked Gallows because Gallows was getting involved with Big E, or I can't remember the end so well. I feel bad because it's like I'm supposed to. Yeah, towards the end it was a bit of a clusterfuck. I will say that because it like tag and then there were no legal men actually in the ring. And it was just like you heard me sitting there yelling, "He's not the legal man." Why? I mean, like, yeah, I would like to see the New Day win it, but me look like, you know, if I see a tag. And they didn't acknowledge it on Raw, which makes me think it was a complete accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. Because like later that night, I thought maybe it was supposed to happen like that. The vaudevillains will come out and say, you know, we were, you know, that match should have kept going. We were not the legal men when we were tagged out. So why are we, you know, why were we pinned? You're supposed to pin Gallows, not me. So. But, I mean, probably a mistake, because as well as Raw, you had the Wyatt family return.
And the New Day interrupting them like 30 seconds later, which was a little strange.
I will say, it's good to see Bray. I missed Bray, but considering he was on a face roll when he was, before his injury... Why do you suddenly, you know, everyone's happy to see. I mean, I guess I can understand they want to get that twist out, but it's just like, I like the Wyatts better as a face. Like, I've never gotten to see it, so why would you crush that? I would like to see the Wyatts as a face. I think it'd be cool. But
Luke Harper, I believe. If that's
Luke Harper, Harper wasn't there last night, and I think he's the one with the torn leg muscle. But. Yeah, after Harper torn a muscle, he they kept going. It was when Bray. It was when
he had that one injury. I forgot what it was, and then he kind of re-injured it a little bit.
Yeah, he injured it at a house tour, I believe, a house show, and a European tour in Italy, I believe it was. So he's been gone for a while.
Yeah, since WrestleMania. We haven't seen the Wyatts since WrestleMania.
So to see him finally back is beautiful. I think they got everyone but Orton back, it looks like. Which, yeah.
On them. They need as much talent as they can get for this draft.
Yeah, they want as much talent as possible for the draft. The draft is going to be a big one.
Anyway, the winner of the tag team match was the New Day, which
Of
was
course.
honestly surprising considering the Club and Enzo and Big Cass are top contenders for those belts at the moment.
Which I'm expecting now, since it looks like, or maybe they'll do a feud into the Battleground pay-per-view with Wyatt, and they'll win the belts, of course. Wyatt will go down, which will really suck. And what the hell? Sorry about that. Computer saying it found some malware. Yeah, the Wyatts will lose. If they win, that will be shocking to me. But I don't see the Wyatts as a tag team contender right now.
No, they're more of just like a stable that kind of hangs around, messes with the top faces, occasionally top
Yep.
heels.
Yep. But they'll go into SummerSlam, and I expect the New Day to at least drop the belt by SummerSlam. Like, I don't think
it's pretty much expected there for them to drop at SummerSlam. They've held it for how long? Survivor Series?
the only other thing I can think of is maybe because, like, if you notice, WWE's been trying to break some of their older records that superstars that are no longer with them that they don't want to mention, like Punk,
Oh yeah.
AJ Lee. I'm sure
So,
Paul London's one of the names because
tag teams, yeah, Paul London's up there with
Paul London, yeah, that's probably why. Not Brian Kendrick. Kendrick didn't toast his boat, but London toasted his boat. So I think that's what they're going for, to get rid of that record, because Paul London, I believe towards the end of his run, he was I can't remember if it was an alcohol or drugs, but he was addicted to something where the WWE was like, okay, you're done, gotta go, see ya, bye.
Typically, in their case, it's usually painkillers.
Yeah, especially back then when they had just started enforcing the wellness policy, because like they had it in place, but like they didn't really start enforcing it until they, the Benoit situation.
Even that was a little too late. There are a lot of people that have that problem by that point.
Yeah, so a little too late, so they started canning people right there. So I think they're trying to let the New Day beat that tag team run. After the tag team match, though, we had Baron Corbin versus Ziggler, which I'll say is another, it seemed like another time holder, because, we've seen
that was a 12-minute match, and the Fatal 4-Way Tag match was just under 12 minutes.
Yeah, so it was definitely a time holder because I think after that we had the Cena style, so they were prepping for that, but definitely...
Actually, there were two matches between Corbin and Corbin and
Okay. Okay. The next one was the Divas, I believe. I can't remember what the... Try to skip to the next one.
They need to feed Corbin someone else besides Ziggler for, the 6th time, because it's honestly gotten stale at this point. It's
gotten stale, but I will say that Corbin does have that, ability to keep a nice rivalry going. I follow Corbin in NXT. The guy's great, amazing talent. He's up there at the top talent. I don't think he'll be pushed that quickly. He has to impress a lot of the officials. I expect him to be the next CM Punk, only because, if you know one thing about the backstage officials, they don't like the tattoo type of deal, which Corbin has. I will say he has one of the sickest tattoos in the WWE today. The chest piece to the full sleeve, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Plus, you can't deny the guy is, great on the mic, great in the ring.
Oh yeah, his voice, it's dark and kind of brooding. It's kind of like Kane, in '97 a little bit.
He could take a Kane position and be, not hellfire and brimstone, but the scare factor of Kane, the modern day scare factor.
Well, he is the lone wolf. He's supposed to be a badass, apocalyptic biker kind of guy.
He does have that look.
Or maybe bounty hunter more than a biker.
I would love to see a bounty hunter kind of character for him. Because APA, they had APA protection, have a similar situation where people approach Corbin, because Corbin says, I don't care who you are, what you are, I'm going to, take what I want, do what I want. So I could imagine like he has some kind of backstage segment where I don't know, a little guy like Ryder comes up, hey, take this guy out, here's
Speaking
the
of Ryder, they fed him Ryder on Monday Night Raw.
yeah, which Ryder had to piss someone off to get a push,
Oh
a
God.
placeholder, at least even to get a placeholder push, you had to piss someone off to go
Anyway,
right back to jobbing. But yeah,
next card was the Divas tag team match: Charlotte and Dana Brooks versus.
and you know what? I'm going to cut you off there, and I apologize. The only like noteworthy thing about that match is
heel turn at the end, yeah.
yeah, Natalia's heel turn. I do want to take a brief moment for the Divas division and say it's not that I don't like the Divas division. I absolutely love it. You can't hate it because of the women they have.
It's better than what it was because these women are a lot more believable than the shit they had a few years ago.
Yeah, as well as, I mean, my problem is they don't have stories. I feel like they just fight the fight.
The thing that kind of pisses me off. They don't have good storylines. Like, the women's title is just kind of a bounce around kind of title. At least Charlotte's held it for quite a long time, which has honestly surprised me for how long she's held it.
Well, Sasha Banks is back, and I heard that then again, that's before Vince said injury prone. But it's like, you have a lot of great contenders and great talent on your Diva roster between Banks, Charlotte, Paige. The new talent they're bringing up from NXT, they are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Women's talent.
These current women talent are fucking top notch. They're probably going to screw them up when they come into the main roster, though.
That's all they do because like it seems like creative doesn't want to take a jump on these girls, and it's like every time they try to move forward with the Divas division, I feel they go one step and two steps backwards because it's like they get a good start.
And they fucked that up. They had the Revolution. They fucked that up. Like,
I will say, like at the beginning of Mania, when they did the woman, they brought back the woman's title. Now I'm not too set on the design because I feel all they did was
the design is better than that crappy.
It's better than the butterfly. Right. I will say yes, it's better than the butterfly, but I feel like I don't know. It's like I feel like they don't care about it because like they just took the WWE World Champion design and reused it, which
honestly it isn't that bad. Like I guess they're kind of cutting corners there, but
it makes me think they don't care about the Diva talent. That's just me. It makes me think they don't care about this Divas talent. That it's just who cares? This title's gonna bounce around regardless. Like you said, it is basically a title a bouncer title, and it's just goes different diva here and there, and you're just like, okay, what's the point? But it's like, I don't think they care about the women's division. Now, I will say that, because we'll go back to TNA, and because I told you this the other day, the women's division there, they don't have talent, but they have story. They have great story. They don't have the talent. They have a good few talent, but they don't have a lot of the good talent. Like, not everyone on that roster is amazing in the ring for their women's division.
They are usually featured on Botchamania, I will say that.
Yeah, the women's talent on TNA, they're not the best. They have good talent, but they're not up there. They do have good stories. I can watch it. I'd rather watch a shitty talent TNA women's match with a great story than what they're throwing us here at WWE. But regardless, I got to find whatever channel TNA is swapping to next week and the week after that.
It's some weird channel. I know I have it. I just don't remember what one it is.
Well, they're always swapping channels now, so it's like every other week you got to program your DVR to a different channel for them. They remind me, if you've been to a church that's starting up and they just go different places. That's what TNA reminds me of. They just go to different channels, whatever. Says, yeah, you can have airtime here. We don't care.
Anyway, next match. Apollo Crews versus Sheamus.
Which, I will say it was an interesting match. Now, they put both superstars in a can't-lose situation, which one of the problems.
Let me cut you off real quick, because Sheamus' entrance, he was so absolutely white, he looked like a ghost.
He was so white in the entrance, I couldn't figure out where he was. I thought there was another light flashing in towards the camera. It was,
He was just blindingly white. Like,
yeah, you couldn't really tell. The guy needs a suntan, but he'll look like Fandango and Tyler Breeze afterwards.
probably be worse than that, honestly. He probably looked like a ghoul from Fallout by the end of that.
Oh my goodness. I will say that entrance was like, wow, I widened my eyes during that entrance. Sheamus,
Yeah,
you
it was
need
like
a tan, bro.
getting
You need a tan, bro. Come on now.
I mean, you might be Irish, but
That's too pale.
That's way too white.
That's too pale. That is too pale. Way too pale.
The actual match, Apollo Crews was impressively athletic. Like, for a big person, he could like move.
Definitely, and you made a good point. He's definitely Lashley 2.0. The second go around with Lashley, since
like,
I
he
don't have.
can actually move. Lashley was just like a brute. Like,
Well, Lashley was also a bodybuilder, and he went to MMA afterwards. But
I will say Apollo Crews can at least talk, because Bobby Lashley occasionally sounded like he had a lisp or something.
Crews is good on the ring and good in the ring and the mic. He's good everywhere. Now, I will say they put both superstars in a can't lose situation. Sheamus coming out of the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which he
not just that alone, but he came out of the League of Nations team, and
that too.
And Barrett left, so Barrett's gone, and they push Rusev out of all of them. And it's like, you need to push them all, because if Sheamus loses so much momentum, he's going to be jobbing. And Sheamus is not a believable jobber. This guy is big built.
Yeah, he won the Royal Rumble. He was world champion.
You can't job Sheamus. Job Sheamus. That's just... My bad. You just can't job him, though. You can't job Sheamus. He's too big. He's not believable jobber. You'll be sitting there, why is this guy jobbing? Why is Zack Ryder beating the shit out of Sheamus? Why?
Bryan at WrestleMania in 9 seconds for the world title.
This is the guy who pushed Cena through the at TLC, I don't know how many years ago, pushed him through the table to win the WWE champion at the time. The guy is legitimately talented. I will say, no, he's even good on the mic, I'll say. No, I'm not even going to say his mic.
The accent, it's like something you don't hear too often. It makes him sound a little more intimidating, just having a normal accent. At least
he's great. He's a great guy. He's fun to watch. Even heel or face, I enjoy watching him. I don't think he should have lost. I don't think Apollo should have lost. Apollo's new to the main roster. You can't have him losing this earlier to make the guy unbelievable.
Has been on kind of a streak lately, so I think they're pushing him more for the U.S. title.
Crews needs to, I think that was bad placement for both of them, because, who goes over? Naturally, out of the two of them, Apollo, because he's the new guy, and Sheamus has the possibility of bouncing back. But Sheamus coming out of the fall of the League of Nations, I still think he should have won a match, because it's like, he needs a big match under his belt to gain momentum. Which, a lot of people, when they think, why do you need momentum? It's predetermined. Well, you need the momentum for believability. So, I just, Sheamus needs to be more believable. And he keeps losing and jobbing, because I feel like he jobbed Apollo Crews. I mean, he might not have jobbed, he might not be jobbing, he might have just put him over because he had to. Regardless, it's just like, I didn't think Sheamus should have lost that match, but I don't think Apollo should have lost that match. It just didn't make sense why you put both of them in a situation where they can't lose, but... They do it with the Wyatts all the time. They put the Wyatts in a situation where they can't lose, and another team in a situation where they can't lose. Wyatts lose, though.
Booking can be kind of strange sometimes.
The booking is awful sometimes, and I don't know who decides these things. After the Apollo Crews and Sheamus, I believe it was Styles.
AJ Styles versus John Cena, a.k.a. Once in a Lifetime Part 2.
And it was like, technically part 3, because they did Rock and Cena twice at Mania. But, I will say that was an interesting match. Now, I told you at the beginning I read backstage, the dirt sheets I like going on, and I read that Cena's probability of losing tonight was very high. Which, I mean, yeah, Cena can lose. You put them both in a situation where they can't lose, but Unlike most talent, Cena has the
Styles.
ability to jump back.
Compare the styles between AJ Styles and John Cena. Like, it's apples and oranges. Like, Styles is very fast paced and just constant offense. Cena is more
Technical, slow.
Yeah.
And
Styles ran circles around Cena almost literally with how fast he was moving.
I will
his 40s, that's still quite impressive.
I will say though, how Cena lost. I noticed that's how he loses a lot of the time when he ever loses a match. It's always
outside interference, yeah.
Well, I won't say just outside interference in general. Just Cena doesn't lose a clean. It's not a clean victory over Cena. It's always a dirty victory over Cena, and that's one problem I have with it. Is like I can't recall the last time I legitimately see Cena losing besides Del Rio, the Del Rio situation. Besides when Del Rio returned to Hell in a Cell, and then the Enziguri of Death, I will refer it to, because it's like that match was 9 minutes, and he just took one Enziguri and a super kick to take Cena down. Where
I remember Cena losing clean, I think was Brock Lesnar.
Oh, Del Rio or Lesnar, he doesn't really lose clean awfully. I mean, this is your face of the company. He's supposed to be winning all the time.
That's one of the problems with your top face, though. Like, it's really hard to get heels over that. Like,
yeah. Well, I will say though, I don't think anyone's looking at Styles as a heel as much as he tries. The guy can't get a boo. It is like, I understand. The guy's naturally over with the crowd. You want to make a real good heel WWE? You got one in front of you. His name's Roman Reigns.
Oh, God.
We'll get into that one shortly. But,
yeah, Styles ran circles around Cena the whole match. They had great back and forth.
Great back and forth, yes.
Counter after counter after counter.
An amazing match to watch. And then the club came in, the Magic Killer.
I will say it was great that they came in at the very last minute. If they came in mid-match, it kind of would have killed it.
Yeah, they came in last minute. That was a good call. Mid-match definitely would have killed it. Ref realized 1, 2, 3. Styles walked up,
which they're probably going to do it again at Battlegrounds.
And they were saying, Styles didn't realize with Monday Night Raw, Styles is a little sarcastic about it. I didn't know, definitely knew.
He's good at being a heel. I will say that. He can definitely be a complete...
Oh, he can play a heel character, but it depends on if the crowd will let him. And I didn't hear much, Styles walked out, cheer throughout his promo, cheering.
Well, it's like The Rock after 2000. Whenever he would turn heel, he would still get cheered a lot.
You can't. I don't know. It's hard to cheer a guy who's boo a guy that's natural, not cheer a guy. Of course, it's easy. After Styles and
had the
Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yes. Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn.
Before we get into the match, let's talk about the build-up to Money in the Bank. I think this had the most attention, and probably because it's the Money in the Bank.
They had some great segments between these 6.
Oh, yeah, for the build-up, when they finalized who was going to be in it. And I'll go back when Teddy Long returned. That was, I think, one of the greater, segments they had, where you had all of them in the ring standing on ladders, and Teddy Long comes out.
That was one of the best opening segments they have had in a while.
And it was all because of the chemistry that these 6 have together. You have Cesaro, Owens, Sami Zayn. All they're from Ring of Honor, so they have they've worked together. So that
Jericho and his natural I'm the best in the world chemistry.
Yep, the veterans. Then you have the veterans of Del Rio and Jericho in the match, and then you had the lunatic fringe Ambrose, which is a character of his own.
Oh yeah.
He alone can generate a good set.
There will never be another Dean Ambrose.
Never. Oh, no way possible. So we talk about the build-up. We had the one from Raw, the opening segment, which was really good. Jericho calling Long a stupid idiot. I won't say, I don't know if they had any segments on SmackDown because I can't
Jericho
remember.
saying he won a Money in the Bank in Apple, New York.
No, that was Kevin Owens saying that I believe.
No, Jericho said it, and because they were grilling him hard on Jericho made the match and yet he's yet to win.
Oh, okay, so he did say that, and then Kevin brought it up at Money in the Bank. I was like, okay, I don't remember that, but yeah, they had great segments along the way, and then you get to Money in the Bank alone, where Owens is being interviewed. And I thought it was amazing.
Owens is such a smart ass.
Yes,
Heel. Like he is one of the. He could easily be a top heel right now.
he can't be a heel though. He gets too much pop. He had the loudest pop at Money in the Bank,
which was just a little over Ambrose, because Ambrose had a decent pop too.
Well, I mean, we got to go look at Kevin Owens' background. Kevin Steen was told he was never ever going to be in the WWE. He does not have the body type. He is, he's a little chunky.
They said the same thing about Mick Foley, and yet he still had some of the greatest matches of all time.
Kevin Owens was told he would never make it, and here he is. The guy was good. He's a phenomenal talent. He is legitimately a prize fighter. I like the nickname prize fighter for him because he legitimately is. But, he had the loudest pop, and the backstage segment where he was, Jericho interrupt, I thought that was beautiful. Jericho comes over, tries to tear into him. The first thing Kevin Owens says, first of all, you need a breath mint. And, hold up real quick. Yeah, he said he has a breath mint. And, he needs a breath mint, not he has one. He needs one. And, yeah, after that, Del Rio came over, and that was funny. What are you going to do? You're going to call us perros? And Jericho's like, well, you know Spanish now? No, I know what pero is. So that backstage segment alone, and Jericho saying, I see a pero, stupid idiots. I will say the stupidest insult I've ever heard is Jericho say stupid idiot, but I swear Jericho makes it funny. It's entertaining to hear him call someone a stupid idiot. I've never heard such a stupid insult make me laugh legitimately. It's legitimately funny. So you had that. What else? I know I'm missing a few things. I'm sure you could fill me in on.
Let's just move into the actual match, because there were some great spots.
Oh, yes. Oh, hold on. Let's just talk about a few of the... I don't want to call them botches, but a few of the mistakes that were made were... Owens.
Slip-ups.
Let's start off with those, and we'll start off with the bad, because there was more good to outweigh the bad. So let's start off with the bad here. The first one I want to bring up is when Owens, the way he hit the ladder.
Which spot was that? Was that
the Sami Zayn? And Sami Zayn has put him on the... I swear... I don't know if it's legitimately put him on the ladder wrong, because it looks like it hurts, and he did it at Mania 2, where I think Owens was legitimately knocked out. I feel he was...
That's what it looked like, either that or he's that damn good.
He's either that damn good, or he legitimately was knocked out. Owens either really sells, or he's been put in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it pays off for him.
There was a spot earlier where you got, absolutely just crushed on a ladder, and you could see the rungs on the ladder underneath him just completely bent inward.
Yeah. And, you know what? The ladder was actually used a lot more than what I was expecting. In a PG environment, I don't see him ever, resort to weapons as often, and when they do, it's usually chairs. You rarely pull out more than chairs anymore.
There were some brutal, swings and throws into the ladder.
Yeah, Cesaro swing Jericho into the ladder. That hurt.
Oh, God.
I don't know how Jericho got up and was just like...
I don't know if Jericho could still do that, but he's, considering what he went through the Ambrose Asylum, taking the thumbtacks was surprising enough.
69 thumbtacks. He kept yelling 69. That was great. But we'll move on to Del Rio. When he had the ladder, he crushed and killed Sammy. He killed Cesaro.
got some shit done to him. Like, he took some hits.
I want to, like, I'm surprised they were at the next night. Like, I would have said, you guys deserve a night off. The
I'm
shit you did.
surprised Sammy wasn't, like, limping like Owens was. I'm surprised Owens was out there at all, honestly.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised they didn't get nights off. There's a lot of these guys who should have deserved a night off because it's like they legitimately put their body through hell, and it's like if I was, you guys come to Raw, sit down, and enjoy the show. We'll take care of everything because you guys stole the show. Money in the Bank ladder match definitely stole the show, and with Ambrose ending the match, grabbing the briefcase like I was hoping, that was
I would have
great.
been fine with either Ambrose or Owens getting it.
I was happy with either of them, but I'm actually very glad Ambrose got it because it's like they kept teasing an Ambrose run with the title, and the thing at
They had the Lunatic Fringe segment, the Raw before, which was great.
As well as I will go back as far as before Mania when Ambrose had the match with Lesnar at Roadblock, the probably forgettable event that happened will never ever happen again. Ambrose versus Triple H. The ref was out and Ambrose pinned him 1, 2, 3. Without a doubt, that was a teaser. To me, that was a teaser saying Ambrose could have won it and been the next champion. Ambrose definitely deserves a champion run. And we'll touch on that since we're going to hit the next one, which was Roman Reigns, wait for the boos, versus Seth Rollins.
Hold up. We missed Rusev and Titus O'Neil, even though nobody cares about that match.
I actually did forget about that. You know what? I'll touch up on it real quick.
They fed Rusev to Titus O'Neil. Rusev won. Rusev said,
yeah, he went.
Sucks. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, he went up to the children, which was far, but I mean, of course, it was storyline.
Titus O'Neil was just boring though, but they had to give him something for suspending him the way they did.
Yeah, there was probably here. We're sorry we suspended you. We suspended you for the stupidest reason possible. Here's a title match. Here's a few promos to make you relevant again.
They gave him a lot of commercials, I will say. They gave him a lot of, like...
Yeah, they've made him so relevant again. I feel that's an apology. And I'm sure Titus likes it because he's making extra money off it. That was definitely just a time eater slot.
They allowed Lana to say, my fiance Rusev, which...
Yeah, they did. I mean, she got a lot of heat from it with the Dolph Ziggler storyline. So... she broke kayfabe, and they don't like it when they break kayfabe. Especially her, though. She usually never breaks kayfabe. Lana's known for not breaking kayfabe. She's, on Instagram, she's Lana. She's not, her actual self. Lana, a little background knowledge on Lana. She's from here in Florida, my part of Florida, a little further up north. It's a town called Gainesville. Go Gators, first of all. And she did live in Russia. She does know Russian because she lived in Russia. She came back to the States.
Look a lot like Ivan Drago's wife from Rocky IV.
She is part Russian, so the whole. I think they need to put Rusev back in a Russian because I even though I feel the whole Russian thing was because the Russian storyline they had
at WrestleMania this year.
Well, the Russian storyline they had Rusev do, I feel, because at the time the U.S. was in a lot of heat with Russia, and Russia was pissed, and they didn't like a lot of the American companies at the time. Not a lot of American companies were in Russia, but I don't like I could be wrong. I gotta go and look. There probably was something where Russia was pissed with anything with America at the time because we stuck our nose in Russia's business, and Russia doesn't like that. So I think the whole Russian storyline and, praise Putin thing that they did was to stay on the Russians' good side so when they do the European tour, they can go to Russia along the way and no one would, throw a fit. But I think Rusev has to go back on the Russian thing because that Russian brute is better than the Bulgarian brute.
Okay,
but
before we go into the main event, we have breaking news.
What's that?
Roman Reigns has been suspended for 30 days for his first violation of the wellness policy.
Really?
I shit you not. It's on the front page of WWE.com.
Wow! Hold up! I want to pull this up real quick. I'm pulling it up on my tablet as we speak. Oh! I'm kind of shocked.
I am too. That's strange, honestly.
I'm not sure if that's gonna work into a storyline, and I'm not sure if it's the way to build heat off Roman, because Roman has a lot of heat.
No, he posted on his Twitter, "I apologize to my family, friends, and fans for my mistake in violating WWE's wellness policy. No excuses, I own it."
Wow, and it wouldn't make sense as a storyline to get the heat off because they just put him in a triple threat. I wonder, I know this is going completely off the subject real quick, going on to the future when we're trying to talk about Money in the Bank, but how does that affect Battleground then? How does that really...
The Ambrose Rollins, I'm guessing.
Because that's crazy. I was not expecting to hear anything, especially since now we're recording this podcast. It is Tuesday, June 21st, and we get this news. Wow. The way they lick Roman's ass on the WWE, it's kind of shocking no one brushed that under the rug like they do with Orton.
Oh God, if Orton has had so many wellness policy violations, he should have been fired years ago, but he's a top draw that they buried like two of his previous ones and allowed him to start over.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised they didn't, try to sweep that up. Wow, does it say he was using, because the guy I haven't noticed a dramatic muscle gain on him. And the guy, is built.
It might not have been steroids. It might have
been painkillers.
Because it happened before with Adam Rose before his whole domestic violence thing.
Well, Adam Rose was the thing about that. We'll actually talk about that. The guy actually lives close to me. I didn't know that till recently, to the domestic thing. But he does seem like a great guy, and for a guy who has ADHD. If you have ADHD, you take those prescription ADHD meds. I am I will say I have ADD, but I have it controlled. I know those meds help you focus, and I think why the WWE suspended him, even if they knew ahead of time, they might have not, because when you are in sports, because when I was doing sports in high school, I had to tell my coach about, the ADHD medication I was taking. Because it could be considered a focus enhancer. He might have swapped medication because there's a lot of ADHD medication out there. They might have been aware of one, but when you swap to another, you're supposed to tell your superior that you have swapped ADHD medication, provide him with the information of it, because if you say, this guy has Adderall and then you're on something else completely different, yeah, there's a problem. Adam Rose might have been on some generic brand because he's probably on some medical plan before the WWE where he can get a generic pill of Adderall, and then when he came to the WWE, he pays full price for the Adderall because the Adderall is generally better for you. So, he didn't tell anyone, hey, I've swapped to Adderall, and that's probably the problem with him. Roman Reigns, I don't want to say maybe it's a focus enhancer. The guy does not look focused at all during his matches. Generally, he does good matches, but he does not look focused at all because of his mic. And occasionally, here and there, he does botch a few things. So he's not focused. It might have been painkillers.
Roman has gotten better over the past few months, but he's still kind of bland on the mic.
Yeah. No. But it might be painkillers that he was not supposed to have because
might be considering
how many bumps it. Also, keep in mind
those spears to the barricade. I can imagine you'd be feeling that a little bit.
No, imagine not last night, but Sunday night when he went through the barricade. It legitimately looked he smacked into it the way he shouldn't have.
I think it was supposed to break and it wasn't gimmicked right.
Yeah, and then when they had a doctor go over towards him, that was a legitimate doctor. He was legitimately be checked out because the ref
himself out. Like,
Yeah, I think that might have been what it is. They might have tested him right after, and he took something he shouldn't have for the pain. Because he did look like he hit hard, so it might be a painkiller thing.
yeah, it might have been that. It's too early to tell, but we'll probably
Definitely too, or he probably won't say it, but we'll learn more about it. There'll be some kind of backstage, knowledge on it. I
anyway.
gotta say that is shocking news coming out from WWE.com because I was not expecting such a thing. Let's move on to the main event since we are talking about Roman Reigns.
Had a great new outfit with a new vest.
Well, he did. Rollins was wearing those tights when he made his return. However, I was not expecting the vest, and I know it's just a small detail of the vest.
But I legitimately like that.
I love the new Seth Rollins logo. I love the new design. His motto since returning has been rebuild, redesign, reclaim, and that's what he's done. The guy looks better. He looks like his character from Ring of Honor, known as Tyler Black. Tyler Black. My bad, guys. Yeah, he looks like his Tyler Black character. He's got the full dark hair, no more blonde streak. So the redesign
a little bit like on the ends, but yeah.
Makes me think that it hasn't faded out yet. Yeah, but he looked generally great, especially. I know they were talking about ring rust, which they never include the house shows. Of course, he's had a few house shows building up. I mean, regardless of even 3 or 4 matches, legitimate ring rust will show up until you've done a good. I'd like to say 10 or 15.
Honestly, he looked like in top shape, like he was on top of his game when going against Roman Reigns. Like,
yeah, top of it. I mean, towards the beginning, it was a one side. I mean, it was one side or one part of the match.
Slow to start off, I will admit that, because Roman has to get his stick in.
Well, let's talk about one thing. One thing going into this match, when you look back on this, 10 years in the future, when you look back at this match, probably what Roman Reigns is actually like when the WWE figures out finally have to make him, likable. They're going to go look back at this match and no one's going to remember that Roman Reigns was actually the face going into this match. He was the good guy. He was supposed to be the good guy going into this match.
Oh, you got to remember, he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy.
Well, the guy, the man, the dude, whatever you want to call them, Roman Reigns, was supposed to be the good guy going. He's supposed to be the one being cheered going into this match.
Meanwhile, boo.
Because they forced him down. I mean, I will say, the second time he won the title, because I think he's a 3-time champion already. 1, 2, I think he's a 3-time champion. They had a good, the first run.
Roman's 3, Seth Rollins is now 2, and Dean Ambrose has 1. So
1, 2, 3. But Roman's already a 3-time champion. Okay, his second time as a champion was actually people liked him. People liked him because it looked like he legitimately earned it. Then they had him drop it to Triple H at the Rumble. And then, when he won it back at Mania, it was like, no one wanted to see that. I'm sorry. You have force-fed Roman down our throats for so long, it's gotten to the point... Look, I sent you a video the other day where they had the top 10 catch lines of the last decade. No place of Cena. No place of Orton. No place of Daniel Bryan. No place of Undertaker. Who is number 1? Roman Reigns. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy. That bullshit was number 1. It's like, that's one of the problems. They're trying to force Roman down our necks. And it's like, no one wants Roman. I don't know if they don't get the hint that we just kind of say, fuck Roman. But maybe no one has caught on to that. Maybe now with the 30-day suspension, he can get the good push he requires, he deserves. I will say the guy is talented in the ring. He's definitely talented.
He definitely has the skill. He just needs to be not as bland as a Rock.
You need to give him a mouthpiece. He's like Brock Lesnar. You need to give him a mouthpiece. I say, with this suspension thing, have them come back in 30 days. Give Paul Heyman a run with Roman Reigns.
That's what Heyman does best, though. Heyman does best when he turns on people. Like when he turned on Brock Lesnar the first time to go with Big Show in 2003.
And when he turned on CM Punk for Brock Lesnar, and you could do you could rebuild the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match, which is definitely a dream match because you have two built guys who you want to see beat the shit out of each other, rebuild it better.
It would be strange seeing Lesnar as face again, but
I don't care. I would love to see Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, them legitimately beat the shit out of each other. It'd be really cool to see. That'd be the way to do it if you ask me. I'd love to see. I mean, it'd be weird seeing Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns, he's a legitimate good, run.
Paul Heyman would give legitimacy to Roman Reigns. Like, as his client, people would kind of like him a little more, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. We go talk about the match now. Rollins came out victorious.
Rollins is smart. Like, you can tell that right off the bat. Like, he lured Reigns quite a few.
Lured Reigns, especially the spirit of the barricade, weaseled out of it, and after the doctor gave the good to go, threw him in the ring, and he went for the pin. You got the 1-2, kick out, of course. Roman went to the corner. There was a spear, and then there was a kick out. No, I don't think he got the spear.
Rollins kicked out of the Superman punch, I think.
Yeah. That's right. There was a spear that Rollins turned into a pedigree.
That was a beautiful counter of the spear turning into a midair pedigree.
I was not expecting that. I gotta say, when I saw Roman charge, I was thinking, well, Rollins is done. They're gonna keep Roman as the champion. Nope. I was very pissed about it at first.
Shocks the world, reclaims the title that he never lost, and then loses it 9 seconds later to Dean Ambrose cash.
Which, you got to remember my thing when, you have Rollins sitting in the ring, holding the belt, and he, he's waiting for something, and I'm sitting there thinking, Ambrose got to come out. Ambrose has to come out. And as soon as I'm thinking, I guess he's not coming out, Ambrose music hits. And, Ross like...
Ambrose is just going to, hold up the briefcase just as, a warning to Rollins.
No, you can't have Ambrose do that. I'm sorry. I'm glad they didn't go down the road. I'm glad Ambrose got the cheap shot with the case, cashed it in, and won it with the dirty deeds. That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That is the best thing that's coming out of the WWE in a long time to me. Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, which you brought up, is the first time ever that all members of a faction have held the champion on one night on 3 different occasions, which is absolutely amazing. They made history that night together, and I'm sure they'll look back at it together. I'm sure Roman Reigns has plenty of time to go grab a beer with the guys now. So...
Triple H must be so disappointed right now.
Oh, just a little. Actually, let's wrap it up for that, and then let's shoot for another podcast in 7 days. We'll probably have more details about what came out of...
we'll talk about the Raw after Money in the Bank, maybe a little SmackDown.
Little SmackDown if it's relevant. I'll watch it and see if it's actually relevant to bring up.
Anything happens on NXT because they're doing Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura.
It definitely will touch up on NXT. We'll even talk about the draft next week. We'll talk about NXT.
We'll probably get more details on the draft since that is July 21st.
Yep. We'll get more details on the draft, more details on NXT.
Great American Bash is returning on.
As well as, I'll save it for next week because I don't want to spoil it. The WWE, and I'm sure people who actually watch this will go out and look this up, they have trademarked another pay-per-view, an old classic WCW, and I told you about it last week. They trademarked the WCW pay-per-view name, and I might as well just say it now, Clash of Champions, which makes me think Night of Champions has been demolished. They're not doing Night of Champions this year, they're doing Clash of Champions. So... And I believe the Great American Bash, they had the Great American Bash, then they turned it to the Bash, and I think it was, it was Vengeance. Never mind, I'm thinking Vengeance Night of Champion. I'm trying to think. Vengeance started the Night of Champion.
Started the Night of Champions.
Yeah, I don't know why. The Great American Bash turned into the Bash, which the Bash turned into TLC, I believe. So, to Great American Bash even returned, it's like, wow, I was not expecting. It was like...
I'm happy they're getting rid of these generic pay-per-view names because...
They're going back to the old... Like, what the thing about the old thing was, it wasn't broken, so I don't know why anyone thought, let's change it. Like, Backlash, Judgment Day, they all had themes.
Yeah, 2006 was like one of the best years for pay-per-view.
To be a WWE fan, yeah, 2006 was the year. If you had the WWE Network, I recommend everyone to go watch the 2006 pay-per-views, the 2007, the 2005.
Through the DX segments, they aren't that bad.
Go watch the Ruthless Aggression era. It was not broken. I don't know why they changed it when they went
2001 to 2007 as one of the.
Well, I will even throw in 2008, 2009, and 2010 is when they started, kind of going downhill. Then 2011 to up till now is kind of when it just hit its all-time low. But watch the Ruthless Aggression era. It's an amazing era. I even like the Attitude Era. I was raised in the Attitude Era. I watched the Attitude Era growing up. And then I went on to my own thing with the Ruthless Aggression, and now we're here in this bullshit era. But, next week we'll talk.
Better. I will say it's getting better.
Oh, yeah. No, not without a doubt. It's getting better. But we're going to wrap it up. Next week I plan on talking about the draft. What we can do. What the WWE, what we think the WWE should do with the draft so they don't fuck this up. Possible ideas for, because SmackDown's going to need a major champion if they do the whole, unique roster thing. Possible ideas of that.
We had the discussion before about the championships that could possibly return,
yep.
And new ones that could be made. So,
and as well as we'll go on touch on NXT, some of the top talent going there, coming out of there, coming up to the main roster, and who should be coming up from the main roster.
And if Finn Balor will take control of the Bullet Club.
I would like to see that. And then we'll also touch up on what happened this week on Raw and SmackDown. But that's it for the podcast, guys. If you liked it, like, subscribe, rate. I don't know if you have a YouTube channel, Zero. If you do, actually, I know you do, but
I can still use it.
If you don't, if you want to make one or use it, let me know, and I will actually send you the podcast so you can, and I'll put a shout out on my channel for you. But
I can probably just make a new one. Like, it doesn't matter too much.
All right. Well, yeah. I will have a description for his channel so you guys can go watch him. Thank you, Zero. I appreciate you doing this with me. We'll both be here. This is not a one-time thing with Zero. He will be here. He's helping me co-host this podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yes. And we're not always going to talk about wrestling. Wrestling may be a big thing here, but we will talk about, like, one of these days I do want to do an E3. And I know it's kind of late, but I do want to talk about E3. We'll do that, and we'll put it out there. And then I also want to talk about, video games in general, what to look for. So, thank you guys. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, do whatever. Peace out. All right, that was productive.